For the last 2 Sundays, we've been reading St. Luke's long account of Jesus' return to Nazareth, his hometown, as he begins his ministry in Galilee. Luke's gospel is interested in Jesus' early life, how he was born, where he grew up. Shortly after he begins his ministry, then, Jesus goes back to Nazareth, where he's lived all his life till then. Can anything good come from Nazareth? Somebody says in another gospel. And that seems to say that the town was not a place that produced anyone noteworthy. Don't expect much from Nazareth. And did the people of Nazareth think that way too? Did you ever wonder what Jesus looked like? I wonder if this gospel may give us a clue. Some time ago, a Hollywood newspaper ran an article entitled, "Jesus in Film and Television, 13 devilishly handsome actors who played the Son of God." And the article went on to show pictures of all the devilishly handsome actors who played Jesus in movies and on television in recent years. To tell you the truth, none of them look like Jesus to me. St. Paul, in his letter to the Philippians, says that Jesus took on the form of a slave, which means, it seems to mean anyway, that if we met him on the street, we wouldn't recognize him. Jesus may not have been particularly handsome, but of course Hollywood can't believe that, and maybe neither can we. We're so sure that looks and appearances and images are everything, but they're not. He's the carpenter's son, the people of Nazareth say, but he was something more. Jesus describes himself as a shepherd, a good shepherd. Now, I don't know too much about what shepherds look like, but from the little I know, they're not a particularly handsome group. For one thing, they're men who spend most of their time outside in the cold or the heat. They're weather-beaten, scruffy-looking, with not much time or reason to groom themselves. They're not much to look at. But the good shepherd cares for his sheep. That's what Jesus does. He cares for his sheep. He knows them. He's lived with them. He shared their experiences all those years at Nazareth. He's lived with his family, his neighbors. He knew them. He was one of them, the carpenter. And he laid down his life for them. Now we say the Word was made flesh, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died and was buried. And then on the third day, he rose again. 2 things we know about Jesus. He's God's Son. God from God. Light from light. True God from true God. Who came among us as a human being. A carpenter. That's something we can hardly grasp. This gospel reminds us that Jesus was human like us. Only for a few brief years did he do great things. And then he was rejected and he was put to death. Something we also can't grasp. And then he brings us the promise of resurrection. Not just a promise to humanity, but to all creation. In the synagogue at Nazareth, Jesus reads from the prophet Isaiah, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He's anointed me." And he announces, this reading is fulfilled in your sight. This reading is fulfilled in our sight. We've been blessed by the coming of Jesus Christ, God with us.